Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of Sipping with SOLZ, episode 26. Hopefully you guys had a great Mother's Day weekend. Shout out to all the mothers out there. But we're back with another episode. Talking about all things content creator world, all things marketing and things of that nature. This is your one-stop shop to get all your content creator things and needs. This is for those who are really interested in the world of content creation. Whether you're an aspiring content creator or just a nosy ass person, this is the podcast for you. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a 5-star review on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already. Follow me on Instagram at SOLZ. Got some funny videos going out there. Got some funny clips going out there. But as far as what we got on the docket today, there's a couple other mini topics that we can get into, but the main one that I really want to talk about is the Kai Cenat hate wave that has been going on over this past week after his announcement of Streamer University, after his announcement of the review process of the applications and how that's going about. Some very, very interesting conversations going on in the streamer world. And I also got my creator tip of the week. Matter of fact, let me switch it up. Let me start off with the creator tip of the week this week. And my creator tip of the week is it's okay to be boxed in. That may be a hot take in and of itself, but my creator tip of the week is that it is okay to be boxed in. I think a lot of content creators fall in the trap of wanting to be a general content creator, right? A creator that just uploads whatever he or she or they or them wants, and they just get the money and get the views. But in actuality, a majority of your favorite content creators just have things that they're known for. They lean into them, and it's okay, even including the content creators that you deem are general content creators. There are things that Kai Cenat will and won't talk about just because it doesn't really interest his audience. Flat out. Whether that happens naturally or intentionally, that's just what it is. There are certain things Mr. Beast will and won't do because it doesn't interest his audience. That's just what it is. So even your favorite general content creator, I promise you, is not as general as you think. But it's also okay to be boxed in if that happens to you. I am a person that was boxed in as an NBA YouTuber for years, and I have quested to find other niches to tackle, to dominate other niches, to expand my brand and become known for more than an NBA YouTuber. But in my quest of doing so, one, I found out these other niches are honestly more toxic than the NBA community. And, you know, it's a case of like the grass isn't greener on the other side. But two, I have come to terms that it's okay to be boxed in as a basketball YouTuber, as an NBA YouTuber. If by the end of Sipping with SOLZ, that is ultimately still what I'm known for, I think I am okay with that. I think I'm okay with that. And the reason is I think being boxed in gives you a certain level of structure and strategy that being a general content creator also doesn't give you, right? I think when you're not a boxed-in content creator, you don't know when you're on or off. And I'm going to speak to just being a sports content creator, an NBA content creator here just for now. But it's a gift and a curse, the seasonality of the NBA season. But I'm starting to embrace it more as a gift than a curse because you know when you're on. You know when you're off. You know when the off season, you can lax off a little bit. Pressure's a little bit off to, chill out. It's the off season. This is when NBA interest is at its lowest. But when it's on, you know it's go time. You know exactly what topics you got to hit on. You know exactly when you got to hit them. And it provides a level of structure that a lot of people don't have. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a great thing, especially in this content creator world where things are so volatile, things are so unpredictable. The more you can make it predictable, I think that bodes well for you. I think that bodes well for you, right? And also, I think people want to expand out oftentimes just a little bit too soon. Actually, a lot too soon. Because think about the best content creator, your favorite content creator, even the ones that expanded out. They were just known for something in the beginning, and then they slowly integrated different pieces of content. And then over time, they've expanded their brand without you even knowing it. I think the perfect example of this is from NBA YouTubers out there is Jimmy High Roller. Jimmy High Roller, right now, arguably the biggest NBA YouTuber out there. Getting millions of views every single time he uploads. And now he's at a point where he can talk about anything basketball related. However, that wasn't always the case. If you watched his journey, he started off talking about high school hoops primarily. Right? High school hoops primarily. High school hoop story times. What happened to this high school team. And then he expanded out just a little bit. Talked about college players just a little bit. And made these videos where there was a tie-in for the high school audience that he's known for. And then it also brought in this new audience of NBA fans. So, 12 NBA players that went crazy in high school, right? What happened to these NBA high school? Like all those different ideas that kind of make this bridge. But that wasn't always that. He had to start somewhere to expand out. And over time, over years, he started expanding out. Never really made a call to, I'm expanding out to general NBA content. Never really said anything. It just naturally happened. But even now, I think it's okay to be boxed in. It's okay to be boxed in because, one, it's just going to give you a starting base. And especially in the beginning when you're just trying to find your footing in this content world, the reality is to stand out, you got to be known for something. No one is just known as a general cool dude in the beginning. You got to be known for something, whether it's a bit, whether it's a content style, whether it's a content topic. You just have to find your starting ground. And then you expand out. So my creator tip of the week, again, it is okay to be boxed in. Nothing wrong with being boxed in. Embrace it. Embrace it. Also, I'm not going to lie, even from a monetary standpoint, what I figured out is it ultimately, unless you are like this viral content creator on a speed Logan Paul level, you can definitely work yourself to being that. Especially if you're a beginner content creator or a mid-sized content creator. Now, what I classify as a mid-sized content creator is much larger than a lot of y'all. Like, I consider people who have 500,000 subs on YouTube through long form still mid-sized content creators. I'm going to just keep it a stack. But what I found is from a monetary standpoint, it arguably helps you during this phase to be as boxed in as possible because when brands reach out to you, they want to know their demographic. They want to know your demographics and exactly what is the audience they're speaking to, right? What is the audience that they're going to pay you to promote their product for, right? And when you have this brand that isn't aligned, that isn't concrete, brands don't know who the fuck they're speaking to. They don't know who they're marketing to, and that actually hurts you. That actually hurts you. That hurts you in terms of who you can or connect with. You stay in this middle ground of like, what the fuck even is your brand? Like, that's what it ultimately boils down to. That's what it ultimately boils down to. So again, it is okay to be boxing. I'm gonna keep saying it. Y'all just gotta embrace it. So let's go ahead and get into this Kai thing. Kai Cenat has been getting a recent hate wave lately off of primarily the Streamer University announcement, and also I guess just him popping off. I don't know. I don't really. The Streamer University stuff may just be the crux of it, but people are definitely getting their shit off on Kai. So this is a tweet all the way from December, but I'm not gonna lie. These are the sentiments that people are getting off to this day. And if you have been on TikTok lately, on the right side of TikTok lately, there have been a lot of tweets just honestly shitting on Kai, talking about how he's inauthentic, how he has a stylist and all of that. So the tweet is, nothing Kai Cenat does feels genuine or himself. It's like everything he does is like a team telling him to do it. 3.8 million views. We got a couple tweets here. A little bit of a smaller sample size, but again, I swear, I'm telling you right now, these sentiments have just sprung honestly out of nowhere. I don't know really where they stem from, and it's bigger than just these couple of tweets I'm about to show y'all. Kai Cenat hate finally becoming mainstream. Hashtag I used to pray for times like this. Okay? This is another one. When everyone is hating on Kai Cenat, but you've been hating since 2021. This is another one. How I'm liking the Kai Cenat hate TikToks. I'm telling you, it's become this big trend to make like Kai hate TikToks. And it's also been a big trend in combination with this to make like Bruce was right takes. For those who don't know, Bruce Drop Him Off is another streamer that was really big a couple years ago. Did a lot of content with Kai, but after texts came out of him talking shit behind Kai's back to other streamers, and I think it wasn't even streamers, it was like his own mods. The relationship just broke off. Kai Cenat called him a crash out, called him fake, called him a snake, all these different things. And I'm gonna just keep it a stack. Bruce just never really recovered from that whole situation. And but a lot of those texts stem from the fact that, like, from my understanding, the shit talk behind the scenes was, yo, Kai's fake, he's not authentic, all these different things. So a lot of people are coming out making Bruce TikToks about him talking about Kai back in the day. And you know, talk about, man, Bruce was right all along. Bruce was right all along. Hate him or love him, even he's a snake, but you know, the things he was talking about, now that we're here, a little bit more validity. So there's this like Bruce revenge arc going on too, right? And another point of the hate is this tweet right here, which I'm gonna be honest, TBH, you may have gotten rage baited, because Kink Champ is a notorious streamer news, fake news account that literally makes up shit, you know, for rage bait. But this is the tweet. Kai Cenat Streamer University is facing backlash after fans noticed that only black streamers have been accepted so far. But then TBH quote retweeted that saying, I've been watching and he's checking all applications on stream. I thought y'all wanted things to be merit-based. Most would agree black people are the most entertaining and talented on earth. So why is it hard to believe other groups of people haven't been selected so far when things aren't stacked in your favor? Hold on. Furthermore, in the replies, he says, they tell us to create our own platforms and get hurt because you can't compete in our world. Newsflash, most of your favorite non-black streamers would have gotten booed at the Apollo 2. Womp, womp. I'm gonna be honest, this notion right here that Kai is only selecting black streamers, I think this goes into a further conversation about, I guess, society. I don't want to get too deep here, but just picking people from the community that you're from. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it a stack. Kai Cenat has a certain audience. Although now, because of how mainstream he is, it's definitely way more diverse than what it was 2 to 3 years ago. But at the end of the day, a majority of Kai's audience is black. A majority of Kai's audience is black people, people of color. You know what I'm saying? People that engage in black culture, you know, just in the WRL community. And a lot of those people, let's just keep it a stack, are people of color, and if not, just straight up black. So when Kai is selecting and going through these applications, naturally, a lot of them are just going to be black people. Same way if, not necessarily the same way, but if Speed did this exact same thing, his audience pool would be completely different from Kai's. If Mr. Beast did this exact same thing, well, Mr. Beast is too global, maybe, but like, let's say Pokimane. If Pokimane did this exact same thing, his audience pool would be different from Kai. Like, there's no problem to me in a black content creator with a primarily black audience picking from a pool of primarily black people and then through the selection process, a lot of them just end up being black because that's just what it is. That's just what it is. I think if a prominent Asian content creator with a primarily Asian audience did something like this, and a majority of the people who applied are Asian, and then the people they select end up being Asian, there's no problem in that. There's no problem in that. And I would maintain the same energy if other groups of people complain about that scenario. Like, that's just what it is. So I personally don't have a problem with that. But the whole inauthentic conversation with Kai just, I just don't care enough. I don't care enough from the perspective. I understand that seems like a cop-out. And that seems like bail to Kai. But I get the criticism. I get why people would be upset and why it's emphasized because Kai's a streamer. Because the whole thing about streaming is, to me, this is the most authentic a creator can be. Right? When you're live, as much as a lot of these streamers are, it is just hard to fake shit. So for a lot of people, streaming is supposed to be the most authentic form of content, just from how the medium is. But now that it's metafied, now that it's this big mainstream thing, now that people know that there's big money in streaming, as soon as that became the norm, I did not give a shit about the authenticity of streaming. I didn't. And maybe you can attribute that to Kai because Kai is one of the people that made it mainstream. But ultimately, this is a form of entertainment to people, especially young people. And I don't really give a shit if it's authentic or not. I don't know. As long as it's not problematic content, as long as it's not, him spewing some insane political bullshit, as long as it's not degeneracy, I don't really care. If the criticism is, oh, Kai has a music stylist, okay. Like, what? If the criticism is Kai has a fashion okay. That money ain't your money. Those clothes ain't your clothes. So Kai has a stylist. Now what? Right? Like, what are we supposed to do here? Because all of these motherfuckers are clip farming. Clip farming is normal now. It is a part of the social media game. All of these people got an image to keep up. And maybe that's a problem that all of this is fake. But I even don't think, like, I just don't care. Ultimately, I think the bigger problem is people pedestalizing content creators to an utmost degree that, when they come out as inauthentic, now it's this like Santa Claus isn't real moment. But in reality, from the jump, you should have just accepted all these content creators as just people that entertain you, no more, no less. Don't look to them for a moral compass. Don't look to them for nothing serious. Just be entertained and keep it pushing. And I guess that's a sad reality that we live in, because when I found out about content creation, the appeal was this was where the authenticity lives, right? For years we consumed mainstream media. For years we consumed these highly produced things that were clearly fake. But content creation was supposed to be where the real authentic shit was. The content wasn't as greatly produced as what we see on TV. A lot of it is just being jerry-rigged. A lot of it is just being made on the fly. There's a bunch of uhs and ums in there. It's imperfectly perfect. Right? This is where you get the real. But I think in the most recent years, we've definitely seen it with Twitter. Once money gets involved in shit, it inherently just becomes inauthentic. And you really gotta try your best to find out where the real authentic conversations are. And even then, I wouldn't ultimately trust them, because you are still liable to get got. you are still liable to have a Santa Claus isn't real moment. I think it is just funny to me that when you reach a certain status, people will just really like reach for hate. And it's funny when you see people reach for hate. It's very funny. It's very funny. So this is him addressing some of the hate actually directly. Let's go ahead and watch it.
Just usual dick riding. And you probably like, Kyle, why are you giving him the attention right now? You feel me? Like, what the fuck? Just usual dick riding. I'm like, okay, let me go see. On my life, I was just so curious. I said, let me just check his IG. Right? I went to his IG, gang. In 2023, this is why you can't take shit serious. In 2023, he sent me a voice note. In 2023, let's hear it. Let's hear it, what it is.
I know you're awake, baby boy. I just want to lick your dreads, and I want to lick your dreads and rip them off your scalp and just shove them up your nose and just molest your teeth. And then as I'm molesting your teeth, I just want to have some dirty black nigger sex.
Yeah! This is why you can't take niggas like this serious. I don't condone what the fuck was just said. This is why, y'all. So, y'all, I just want to show him some love. I just want to shout him out.
Don't show him love. Don't show him love. Yeah, if this is where the haters are coming from, like, what are we doing? That's crazy. What exactly are we really conversating about? Yeah.
Right, I'm
like what? What is that, chat? All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, man. Let's talk about OF models. I know, crazy pivot. Crazy pivot. So this stems off a clip, another clip from Kai shit. But I think there's a bigger conversation to be had right here. Okay? So Kai Cenat says OnlyFans girls are not allowed into his streamer university after they applied.
Tell me why there are OnlyFans bitches applying, talking about how they stream. We're not talking about streaming on OnlyFans, nigga. You can't get in because you a stream. What the fuck? I had to search that up. I had to search up. Can you live stream on OnlyFans? Why do you think you live streaming on OnlyFans is gonna make you come into streamer university? Tacky, thanks for the 10 gifted. Appreciate it. Like, nigga, like, how does that even make sense? You feel me? Now, I also want to shine light on some people. I realized with this whole
okay, so apparently OF people are applying to streamer university, which is crazy work. I think that that is a crazy thing to get off. OF models applying to this. But I think there is a bigger conversation about how seriously we should take OF content creators as content creators, bigger than just this one Kai clip, right? I want to bring up this clip, this next clip from the OF perspective. The OF perspective, okay?
And I get come up to by this guy and his girlfriend, and we were interrupted in the middle of talking and eating, and he said, "Hey, Mia Khalifa, can I get a picture with you?" And I looked up at him and I'm like, "No, we're eating." And I said it just like that. Like it was a rude way, but it was also very rude for him to come up while someone was actively in the middle of a conversation. And after I said that, his girlfriend, who was standing next to him, grabbed him by the arm and said, "I told you that wasn't her. There's not enough on her face. Let's go, babe." And I went into the bathroom and cried, and I didn't really know how to handle it, especially because it came from a woman, and especially because I was there for business, and it was something that had nothing to do with the adult industry, and I was just very dejected and embarrassed and felt like they would never want to work with me again.
That must have been really...
So the conversation again is, should OF content creators receive more respect from the industry, from society at large. And is Kai wrong? Should Kai get canceled? No, Kai should not get canceled. Definitely not. But for me, I'm gonna be honest. OF models trying to what's the word? What's the word here? Trying to take over. Trying to what's the phrase that they use when like white people go into gentrification? There you go. There you go. I think OF models trying to reverse gentrify the word content creator is nasty work. I think OF models trying to lump everyone from Mr. Beast, Casey Neistat, and OF models, and Kai Cenat, and Pokimane, and all these different people into one umbrella of content creators, simply because we all sit in front of a camera and upload stuff to a site, I think is nasty work. And I do not think it is helping at all in the quest of making content creation a more serious job than what it is. I think even before this merger, there was already a conversation about how serious content creators, period, should be taken seriously. Right? How serious content creation really is. Are these people that we should respect, period? But when you add OF models into that equation, it's just a bad example that the other side can use to discredit content creators. At the bare minimum. At the bare minimum. Now, do I believe OF models should be more respected? Because the conversation between more respected and to be respected are two completely different things. You can still be respected but not respected enough, if that makes sense. I do think OF models still deserve a level of respect. Let me say that. I think ultimately, whether you agree or disagree with what they're doing, ultimately these are still human beings. And they still deserve a level of respect that should be extended to them. Right? Just because they are OF models doesn't mean you can just go out and like spit on them in public, right? Just because they're OF models doesn't mean you can just assault them in public. Like that type of shit, baseline shit. Right? And I don't want to live in a society where just because people are doing OF, that gives the green light for everyone else to just be nasty to, at the end of the day, human beings. I think that's nasty. I think that's nasty. But also, I think there is a level of accountability that needs to be held to these OF models. Absolutely. Because, listen, at the end of the day, maybe it is a more complex discussion than what I'm leading on right now. You made an active choice to put your body out there. You made an active choice to do prawn for a living. You made an active choice to pop your pussy on the timeline. That was a choice that you made for a lot of these as a grown adult. Right? And let's keep it a stack. As competitive the field is, it is much easier. It is much easier to get popping simply by being attractive and showing off your assets than it is for people who are creating a brand, you know what I'm saying? Creating a community, you know, streaming, doing podcasts, making videos about, you know, PG plus level topics. It is much harder to build a platform that way than it is to just pop your pussy on a timeline. I think the bigger call out To me, the bigger call out here is just for people who are even interested in getting into OF. This is not honestly, this applies to content creation, but specifically to OF. The grass is not always greener on the other side just because you're making money. You gotta know what you're getting into, and you gotta know that you are inherently, because of what OF is, you are inherently going into a field where you gotta be shameless, and you gotta know going into it that you will never be respected as much as the typical content creator. I think we are too advanced in the conversation right now to be like, oh, I didn't know what I was getting into. That I'm not giving OF content creators bail anymore. The medium, the space has matured well enough for you to know what you're getting into. I'm not giving you that. You should know by now that if you do OF, you are going to get cooked. You should know by now the certain stigmas that will always be attached to OF. That's just what it is. That's like me going full red pill and I had to I didn't know it was like this. At this point, you know what it is if you go that route. You know the backlash that you're about to get. You know the praise that you're about to get if you go into a certain lane. If you are going to do OF, you better be prepared to be shameless about it. And you better be prepared to never be taken to never be respected for real, on a serious matter. You know, you will never get these insane brand deals, right? You will always be reliant on fan-funded monetization. This is a straight business at this point, right? You will never get these brand deals. You will never fully be able to take advantage of platforms like YouTube for what it is. Instagram definitely, but YouTube, that's kind of cooked. Unless you really add a personality, maybe that's you. But hey, that's just what it is. About is the lie that these TikTokers are selling y'all. See, TikTok is funny because this is definitely the biggest change that TikTok has brought into the game is the sense of being an overnight success at scale. This idea that you can just get famous, get rich overnight. And a lot of people are feeding into that. Just a quick search on TikTok. So a lot of people sharing their stories about how they've made $20,000 in 2 months, $40,000 in 2 months. There was definitely a big trend last year of, when TikTok Shop was popping. Oh, I made $100,000 on TikTok Shop and you can too. And this applies on other platforms as well. Don't get me wrong. But these TikTokers got to be stopped. These TikTokers got to be stopped because they are selling you a lie. And if you ever see a content creator selling this, making videos like this, please go to their bio, see if they got a course. If they got a course, you know for a fact they're scamming. At the very least, they're grifting. At the very least, they are grifting. I think the reality with content creation is it is ultimately a slow grind. It is a slow grind. This idea of being an overnight success is the biggest myth in content creation. A lot of your favorite content creators did not make it even in a year. It takes years to work on this craft. It takes a level of dedication and discipline that a lot of you guys just do not have. And maybe you do, but it's not just going to be 2 to 3 months. It is going to take years because a lot of y'all are starting from scratch. A lot of y'all do not have the capital to hire an editor, to hire a thumbnail designer, to hire a producer out the gate. So a lot of y'all are doing this by yourselves in the beginning. It takes a minute to learn how to edit. It takes a minute to learn how to be good in front of the camera. It takes a minute to learn how to design thumbnails. These are all individual skills that people get paid for, but you as a person who's just starting out, You just got to learn all these skills by yourselves, and you just got to deal with it. You just got... AI has helped a little bit in this discussion. Short form content has, lowered the barrier a little bit. But ultimately, you still got to know how to do a lot of these things. You got to work on a lot of these things. And at the end of the day, there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. And I'm going to be honest, you having expectations of making 20 to 30K in a couple months is actually setting you up for more failure. For more failure. Because by the end of those 2 months, even on TikTok, when you have 1,000 followers, because TikTok is honestly much harder to grow on now than ever before. When you end those 2 to 3 months implementing all the things that this guru told you to, and you end up with 1,000 followers, every video getting 500 views at most, and you ain't made a lick off of anything, maybe $5 because someone just donated you a fucking rose, you are going to be upset. But in reality, I think it is important to just temper your expectations. Temper your expectations, and also just enjoy the process. Enjoy the process of learning. Enjoy the process of making content. And if that's not the mindset that's going to help you, I think the main thing you should be doing in the beginning is just discipline. Working on your discipline, showing up to work every single day. I think one of the things that kill a lot of beginner content creators is being perfectionists. Not putting out content unless it's good enough. And then you go on your channel and you haven't uploaded a video in 2 months because you've just been sitting on your ass working on this one video or not working on this one video, right? When in reality, you just gotta put in the reps in the beginning. That is the main thing you gotta work on. Put in the reps. Don't worry about nothing else. Don't worry about analytics. Don't worry about the views you're getting. You know what I'm saying? It's similar to basketball. When you're starting out playing basketball, I don't care what you're doing in game. You just got to start somewhere. You just got to show up to the games. You just got to show up to practice. And then over time, we can worry about how to improve this, how to improve that, how to add a bag to your game, how to work on your free throws, all of that. We can work on that once we get there. But in the beginning, you just got to show up to work. And content creation is the same thing. There's a lot of self-discipline involved in this. That's what people don't tell you about. There's a lot of free labor involved in this. There's a lot of self-learning involved in this. There's not a lot of hand-holding as well. And that's the thing that to me makes content creation hard. This is a field where you need to learn by yourself. And there's also no hand-holding. That's what they don't tell you about being self-taught in anything, really. That's why people pay for higher education. That's why people pay for courses. Is to have this structured level, this structured way of learning. So that there's a financial way of holding you accountable for. There's this person, there's this expert teaching you how to do things. Then people always praise, you can find anything on the internet. This is why college isn't needed. I know I'm going off a different tangent here now. But I'm telling you, if you have ever tried to learn something on your own, if you have ever even tried to buy a course, because I've tried to buy computer science courses on Udemy. And what I've found, and I think statistically this is the case as well, people buy a course, they stick to it for a couple of days, they stick to it for a week. But the completion rate to the end of the course, because apparently a lot of the knowledge is at the end of the course. A lot of people don't complete courses on Udemy. And that's a course, let alone teaching yourself something to its fullest degree. You know what I'm saying? So I think, to me, that just speaks to how lack of a discipline a lot of people have. And I'm telling you, these people that are selling y'all on this lie that, oh, if you just start content creation today, you don't even need a big platform. You just need a couple thousand followers and TikTok shop, and you're going to be making $10,000. That shit is a lie, bro. That shit is a lie. I think it's fine to take advice from content creator gurus, but similar with a lot of content, you got to weed out the bad actors. You got to know who's authentic. You got to know who's credible. You got to know about where people are coming from. You got to know about biases, right? You got to know about a lot of these things. You got to know a lot about these things. Because ultimately, people are allowed to make whatever content that they want. And there's a level of accountability that needs to be held for the viewer for believing in whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? The beauty about content creation is a lot of it is unregulated information. You know, theoretically, people shouldn't be silenced on social media. But that also puts a lot of the onus on the viewer to, again, weed out what's good information, what's bad information, who's lying, who's not. That's on you. That's on you. It is now more on you than ever because of how content creation has democratized information. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for coming through Sipping with Souls. I'm going to try to get more guests on, chat. It's been a while since we've got some guests on. We should have one in this next upcoming episode. But, yeah, appreciate y'all for coming through. And I'm out of here, man. Peace.